In a small village where red dirt roads ran between green fields, there lived a very sweet girl named Karen. She lived with her mother in a tiny old house, but it was always full of warm laughter. Karen did not have many toys, and she did not have pretty clothes either. Her most precious things were just an old dress and a pair of wooden sandals her mother made for her. They were stiff and rough, and they hurt her feet a little. But Karen never complained. One night, Karen looked up at the sky full of stars and asked, "Mom, what are those tiny lights up there?" Her mother smiled and gently stroked her hair. "They are stars, Karen. Everyone who lives in this world will one day become a star and shine forever." Karen believed her, not knowing that this idea would stay with her for the rest of her life. One morning, Karen's mother started coughing a lot, and her body became very weak. Worried, Karen ran into town with the little money she had saved to buy medicine. On the small path covered with dry leaves, she suddenly saw a wooden box lying by the side of the road. Inside the box was a pair of shiny red shoes. They sparkled brightly in the sunlight, as if they were calling Karen's name. Her eyes widened with excitement. Karen had never owned anything so beautiful in her whole life. She hugged the box and ran home. "Mom, look, I found these shoes. Aren't they beautiful?" Her mother looked at them with worried eyes. "Karen, maybe they belong to someone else. You should return them right away." Karen hesitated. But if they had an owner, why would they leave the whole box behind? Her mother gently held her hand. "Even if I can't buy new shoes for you, I don't want you wearing something that isn't yours. Promise me you won't wear them." Karen lowered her head and nodded. She promised. But deep inside, she still loved those bright red shoes more than anything. As time passed, even though Karen tried her best to take care of her mother's illness grew worse every day. Their small home, which used to be full of laughter, now felt quiet and cold. Only the sound of the wind and her mother's weak breathing remained. One afternoon, Karen went to the market to buy warm porridge for her mom. But when she returned, the house was strangely silent. "Mom, I'm home," she called. No one answered. Karen ran through every room, then hurried to the backyard. She stopped suddenly. In the evening sky, among all the tiny lights, she saw one new star, shining brighter than the rest. She understood. Tears fell on her old wooden sandals. The only person who loved her without conditions had become a star. The next morning, on the way to her mother's funeral, Karen opened the wooden box she hid under her bed. In that moment of deep sadness, the only thing that brought her comfort was the pair of red shoes. She put them on. She knew her mother had forbidden it, but Karen wanted one small, beautiful thing beside her on this painful day. She didn't know it yet, but that choice would change her life forever. After Karen's mother passed away, a kind old woman took her in. The woman gave Karen everything she needed: new clothes, tasty food, and a bright, cozy room of her own. Karen lived a life she had never dreamed of before. But there was one thing Karen never forgot: the red shoes. The old woman knew this, so she gently said, "Karen, your mother didn't want you to wear those shoes. You should put them away." Karen stayed quiet, but her eyes kept returning to the old wooden box. Years passed, and Karen grew into a beautiful young girl. But as she grew, her stubbornness also grew. One day, the old woman handed Karen a sweater she had knitted by hand. "I worked on this all week, dear. Try it on." Karen frowned. "I don't like it. It looks old-fashioned." The woman placed a bowl of warm soup on the table. "Please eat a little. I made it for you." Karen pushed it away and said coldly, "I want French fries." The old woman sighed and cooked something else, though her eyes looked sadder each day. Then one afternoon, while shopping together, Karen suddenly stopped. In the store window was a pair of shiny red shoes, just like the ones from her childhood. Her eyes lit up. "Grandma, I need these shoes." And in that moment, the biggest conflict of Karen's life quietly began. That day, Karen begged so much that the old woman finally used her very last money to buy Karen a pair of black shoes for the funeral, and also the shiny red shoes Karen loved so much. They had to walk home, and the old woman's legs shook with every step. But Karen didn't notice. Her eyes were only focused on the sparkling red shoes inside the box. A few days later, the old woman said, "Karen, we have to go to a funeral. Remember to wear the black shoes. It would be disrespectful otherwise." But as soon as the woman turned away, Karen looked at the black shoes, then at the red ones. In the end, she made up her mind. She didn't care. She hid the red shoes under her dress and secretly wore them to the ceremony. Inside the church, the red light from her shoes flashed under her skirt, and people began whispering. The old woman was so embarrassed her hands trembled, but Karen simply pressed her lips together and pretended not to hear. At that moment, a young nobleman walked by. He stopped and stared at Karen. "You are very beautiful, and your shoes are amazing." Karen blushed, but as soon as he invited her to a dance that night, something terrible happened. Right outside the church, the red shoes suddenly tightened around Karen's feet. Then, they started to move. Karen could not stop, could not control her legs, could not escape. The red shoes had begun their curse. The red shoes dragged Karen across fields, through the forest, and even up the side of a mountain. For 3 days and 3 nights, she could not stop moving. Her feet were bleeding, and every step felt like a painful gasp. At last, completely exhausted, Karen fell to the ground and cried, "I'm sorry. I won't be stubborn anymore. I don't want to lose anyone else because of my selfishness. Please, stop." In that moment, the red shoes suddenly jumped off her feet and began hopping away on their own until they disappeared into the dark forest. Karen used a stick she found to slowly make her way home. When the old woman opened the door and hugged her tightly, Karen whispered, "I'm sorry. I will be better." From that day on, Karen truly changed. She learned to be thankful, kind, and gentle. And when the young nobleman returned to find her, a new, peaceful, and happy story began.